بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم جميعاً. I am honored to share the stage with women who have great impact on sports in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Our panel today addressed women's sports in the Kingdom from vision to empowerment. We'll discuss the inspiring progress of women's sports in the Kingdom from the inception of Vision 2030 to the concrete actions empowering their involvement across various sports. We will also highlight the increase in the number of Saudi female athletes, teams, and the accomplishments at both the local and international levels. Introducing our panelists today, Ms. Adwa Al-Arifi, Assistant Minister for Sports Affairs, had a massive impact in supporting many Saudis on their sporting journey, helping to deliver flagship initiatives and events within the ministry. Also considered a pioneer of women's football in the kingdom. She helped establish the first women's club and league in Saudi, as well as being the first female board member of the Saudi Football Federation. Please give her a hand. Dr. Mizna Al-Marzougi is a renowned expert in sports policy, physical activity, and public health. As Director General of the Leaders Development Initiative, known as LDI, at the Ministry of Sports in Saudi Arabia, she drives the country's sports sector capability development strategy, fostering partnerships and setting industry standards to achieve the goals of Vision 2030. Dr. Mizna, welcome. And Ms. Chloe Target Adams, the Chief Commercial Officer at Surge Sports Investments, bringing extensive experience from her influential role in global motorsports. She played a key part in expanding the sport's international presence, including major deals like the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, making her a valuable asset to the growing Saudi sports sector. Welcome. First, my question to Ms. Adwa. What has been the most effective strategy to enhance women's participation in sports at local and international levels?
Okay, first, thank you, Haya. Thank you for the introduction. And I would like to first thank the organizers of this event, for this event and conference, and it's a pleasure to be with you all here today. Let me start with Vision 2030. So Vision 2030 is the strategy that transformed the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And at the heart of that strategy was women empowerment and women enablement. And a big role of Vision 2030 was quality of life, which quality of life has sports, entertainment, culture, tourism, all combined in one program. And of that, we worked on our national sports strategy, which in our national sports strategy, we have three main pillars: mass participation, amateur to elite, elite athletes. And our national sports strategy focus on everyone. It's not catered for a certain gender or for a certain age group. So we don't differentiate between men or women or boys or girls. Whatever we do is to cater for everyone, for all. And a big example of that on our first pillar, which is mass participation, before Vision 2030, only 13% of the population in Saudi were physically active. We're proud to say that we've exceeded the targets of 2030, which was 40%, and we've reached 48% of people in Saudi being physically active. And that was led by Sports for All Federation, focusing on grassroots mass participation. And from that effort as well, we're proud to say that 400% of females have increased in participation in sports and physical activity. And that's a great progress happening within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And because of that, because of the increase in physical activity and sports for women in Saudi, we've witnessed remarkable achievements for women in sports. So if we look at the elite athletes, we're very proud of Dunya Al-Talib, who was the first female qualified to Paris Olympics, and not only qualified and participated, but she also competed to the latest stages of the competition. In addition to that, we're proud of Msha'al Beidan, who won a couple of months ago E1 race in Jeddah, and she was the first Saudi to win that race. And there are a lot of females athletes that we're proud of that have did remarkable achievements, and we look forward for more and more within the coming years for more achievements for females within the sports sector. So that's in terms of athletes, but we're also focusing on the whole ecosystem. So in terms of managerial positions, in terms of coaches, referees, admin, and we see a great development in women's sports within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and we're very proud of the achievements that happened.
Absolutely. There's been a very big recognizable progress. How can we get this progress to be sustained? How can we sustain it?
So a lot of reforms that happened within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to ensure sustainability in that progress. So for example, before Vision 2030, private sector was not able to open gyms for females or clubs or academies. So these are one of the main areas that we focus on in terms of policies and reforms to ensure that whatever we're doing is sustained and that it grows and develops in the future. So from having 0 female gyms before Vision 2030 to having today more than 500 female gyms, in addition to a large number of clubs and academies that for men and women, boys and girls, that exceeds more than 1,000 clubs and academies within the kingdom. In addition to that, there are other reforms that have happened in the public sector. So for example, PE for girls was introduced, and we're very proud to have a sports schools league. We have more than 70,000 girls playing football in schools, where before Vision 2030, there was no platform for girls to practice sports and football in particular. And because of that, today we can see we have more than 40 women national teams across different sports. And if we focus on football, we have 4 national teams for women football. So we have the senior national team, we have the under-20, the under-17, and the futsal women's national team. We have 3 women football leagues, and we're very proud of our Premier League, our Women Premier League. It's the only Premier League women football in the region that is broadcasted worldwide, broadcasted globally, and has an international sponsorship for that league. So we might have been late in the game, but we've exceeded a lot of other countries that have started before us. In addition to that, one of the reforms that have happened in the sports sector is, by law, all of the sporting federations need to have a seat for a female in that federation to ensure that we progress and we develop and we improve in women's sports, in that sport in particular. So we're very proud of all the achievements, and we're very lucky to be part of the transformation that's happening. And we're very lucky to be at this time where we have the support of the leadership of His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who's leading Vision 2030 and the transformation that's happening within the country. And also we're very lucky to have our Minister of Sport, His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Turki, who is leading the transformation and supporting the development and the improvement in the sports sector.
Yes, alhamdulillah, there has been great growth, and this is just the beginning, inshallah. Dr. Mizna, speaking of logistics and putting standards in place and sustainable progress, what are the strategic objectives of the LDI and the specialized programs aimed at advancing women's sports?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be with you today and with our esteemed panelists. At LDI, empowering human capability development and investing in people. And this belief will achieve the global sport ecosystem. So at LDI, we have a clear vision to enable excellence in the sport sector through supporting individual and institutes within the kingdom. To achieve this, we have a specific 4 objectives, strategical objectives, that focus on standardizing the professional practices and also enable human capability and innovation. And also third, to promote the participation within either engagement and participation in the community. And finally also achieving the operational excellence. And through that, and if I can say that LDI started launching a specific women's sports program starting from after the vision of 2030, and around 2019 have developed a lot of customized program for women. And since actually 5 years ago, LDI have delivered more than 100,000 program for professionals, either for both genders, and 40% for women only, who participate in sport-specific program to enhance their skills development, either as coaches, referees, and also sport administrative. As well, within this, we have around 10,000 of certified coaches and referees who are actually graduated from the program delivered by the LDI. To also looking for the future now, and this year we have a customized and designed program for different level of women in sport, to advance women in sport, especially in their level to help their career development, either as leaders, senior leaders, or mid-management, or a mentorship program for inter-level for women who was to enable them to enter the sports sector. So within this all, we focus on our program to have a very clear initiatives that focus to all level of career development for women, either within their training or leadership professionalism, so all of level of skills development. So this is mostly we will focus in, and as well there is a lot of initiatives under the national sport strategy that focus also on creating an ecosystem for training within either with education institute or private sector to enable the continuous education for both gender in sport education.
That's great. That also pours into sustainable progress. So there is always continuous education, and it's always provided, and they can keep continuing their education and have more knowledge when it comes to the different aspects in fitness and sports. I would like to shift from strategy to business and ROI. My next question is to Ms. Chloe. One of the goals at Surge is building for revenue, not just representation. So by investment models that offer a real path to return on investment, how do we shift from a narrative of representation to one of revenue when building women's sports platforms?
Thank you, and it's a real privilege to be here today and sharing the panel with my esteemed colleagues, so thank you again. Women's sport is such an unlocked opportunity from a commercial space. We're seeing more and more investment into that space, not just for representation, to your point, but because there is a genuine business case to be made to actually grow not only the sport, but the commercial space, whether that's from a media rights, partnership, sponsorship, experience factor. And they're obviously a very developed women's sports, football being one, both within the kingdom with the work that Adwa has done, but equally across that global space. You saw it in the recent Women's World Cup, the Euros, WTA, for example. Tennis has had a bit of a longer trajectory there, and to see how it can grow. But it's almost a missed opportunity from an investor perspective to not be really channeling that women's sports perspective, because that revenue return, that business case is just becoming more and more relevant in terms of being able to return that real growth.
Ms. Adwa, this question is also for you. How can the private sector get involved and support?
So the private sector plays a big role in the development of sports in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Our role is to ease the regulations, to attract the private sector to come into the sports sector. And maybe I'll take an example where Chloe mentioned WTA, yes. Which today Saudi Arabia is hosting WTA, which is the women's tennis finals. So we're hosting that event to encourage girls to play tennis, and hopefully maybe one day we can see a Saudi female playing in that level as a professional athlete. The Tennis Federation started a program alongside with the WTA final in schools. So we have more than 30,000 girls in schools having the opportunity to try to play tennis. So between the grassroots and between the professional event, there is a gap there where the private sector can come in and fill that gap with having tennis academies, having tennis clubs, and increasing the participation in the sport itself. And I just gave an example in tennis, but yes. There are plenty of other sports that we need the private sector to come in and support in. And another element other than sports is physical activity. So gyms today is a way where we need to increase participation in physical activity in general, and it's one of the targets that we have. And I think you are from the private sector, and you've witnessed the challenge in the past and yes. How the reforms have happened, and maybe you can share your example and maybe give an advice for the private sector.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I sit here amongst you and I think about my journey starting back in 2013, when it was before the establishment of the vision. I speak to you and I speak to Dr. Mizna, and I think back then it wasn't clear on how to operate a female's gym. It wasn't really possible. Fitness is not my educational background, it's my passion. So I really wanted to do so much in terms of fitness, and back at the time when I started, it was a bit unknown. So with the establishment of Vision 2030, and after, I want to say around 2019, that's when I opened or founded a gym, and it ran for 5 years, and I'm very lucky to say that I witnessed that change. I saw it before my eyes, I lived it, so it's very inspiring to be here and hear about all of this. And this is just the foundation, this is just the beginning, and there's so much more to go, inshallah, and the best is yet to come. When we spoke about education, when we spoke about how there's a gap between grassroots and reaching to the athlete level, or just practicing the sport, there's a lot to be filled there with the support of the private sector. And I think this, Dr. Mizna, you have a great role in this as well. What is the role of the investment in private sector in the growth of women's sports from the perspective of the LDI?
Okay, so as what Adwa mentioned regarding the advancing women in sports, private sector play a very critical role here. And for us at LDI, we focus on empowering private sector to be partner and delivering a accredited professional training program in the sports sector. By having a very clear scheme, licensing and accreditation, through launched in the Ministry of Sport will help the private sector to thrive in investing in sport and sport education specifically, and also will enable us to have more quality of delivering this education with the private sector as a partner, and to evolve with the demand needs of the market, and to be easy, sustainable delivery of a great system. And by doing that, inshallah, we are launching the scheme soon, and by delivering this scheme, we have a bylaw, and we have regulations and policies, and as also my colleagues Adwa mentioned regarding the policies that the Ministry of Sport have delivered. It's a lot of regulations the ministry works to enable women's sports, and specifically to have an inclusive environment for them to participate and to evolve as a leader, as administrative, as a coaches, to have a sustainable job and grow in jobs as well. Because before, I think, let's talk about the past. In the sports sector, there were maybe lack, especially in women, focus on women, the lack of women specialized on professionally in sports, and that also impacted in the ecosystem of providing coaches that know our, especially Saudi coaches who understand our culture, and also to enable them to be empowering the girls and the women in the kingdom. So by having all of this as a comprehensive, we will understand more to have an ecosystem that thrive, and also investment become something that's promising in the sports sector.
Absolutely. So this is definitely a win-win situation. The academies from the private sector also provide certifying trainers, and this is something that you've been working on at LDI. So they have a big role when it comes to education in sports, and vice versa. When you educate all of these coaches in the academy, or sorry, in the LDI, this pours into opportunities for different jobs, for different positions, in different facilities. So this is a very linked, I want to say, between both. And it opens a lot of opportunities, and it's great to have this today. I want to move a little and talk about athletes, and my second question is for you, Ms. Chloe. So female athletes today are some of the most powerful storytellers in sports. They bring authenticity, purpose, and connection in ways that deeply resonate with younger audiences. What are some of the most effective ways to support athlete-led storytelling in women's sports? And how can platforms, leagues, and sponsors collaborate in that effort?
Yeah, I think we're very fortunate as fans to have such engaging female athletes and to support them on the stories that they can tell. And that's across a range of sports and that global interaction as well. There's a unique opportunity here with women's sports not to just roll out the same stories that have been told around male, and to make it much more specific to that female audience. And one of the biggest questions, I think, in doing that is actually knowing the audience, right? And doing enough research and analysis and data insights to better understand what a female fan is looking for, as well as what maybe a broader fan base, both male and female, is looking for from a female athlete. So through the implementation of new tech, through where media rights is going, I think some of the examples I can take from my previous role at Formula One, and how F1 Academy was built out, and some of the partnership activations they've done both around their race series, but also with the likes of international brands like Charlotte Tilbury around makeup, which is a much more female-specific activation than you might have seen in the past around sports. So you need to look at it from a very kind of, focus lens of what a female fan is wanting and what that female athlete wants to promote and grow, to be able to grow their own fan base. And we've got some of the greatest stars in the world on the female sports stage. If you look at someone like Serena Williams, for example, in tennis, you know, how does that next generation of female athlete be able to learn from what's gone before? For Surge, you know, we're lucky enough to be an investor in PFL, and we've got an amazing talent there for Saudi female Hatan. So again, working with her on what's really going to draw in that fan base and help activate and grow her reach, not only within the kingdom, but more broadly within the region and globally.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of empowering women, Ms. Adwa, how can women be empowered in administrative and leadership roles within the sports sector?
We are empowered.
We are empowered, absolutely.
An example is Dr. Mizna. We have in the room, I see Princess Nof, Ghandura. They're females that are leading sectors within the Ministry of Sport, and not only working on women's sports, but they're working across different elements. And another example is we have a lot of sporting federations that we have female CEOs in those federations, and they were not picked because they're females. They're picked because they are capable. And this is what opportunities today within Vision 2030 have opened the doors for capability, regardless of the gender. And we're very proud in the private and in the sports sector to witness a lot of great female leaders, either female leading presidents of federations, CEO federations, or senior leadership positions within the different ecosystem of the sports sector, and also the private sector and how females are leading different elements within the private sector. So the answer to the question is we are enabled.
We are, and we will continue to. Ms. Chloe, how is Surge supporting sustainable league development in women's sports? And what role does it play in helping federations and right holders implement these strategies?
So at Surge, we're fortunate in that we have the ability to look at and invest in a number of different sporting properties. That in itself provides a platform for female athlete participation, female audience engagement, because what is very important for us at Surge is not only that we are using the transformative capital that we're able to deploy into, you know, a really sound business financial return, but also that there's a social return on that, and that is utilized to develop talent within the region. So it's something we take very seriously. We look at it very broadly across our different investments. We don't look at, for example, right, there has to be a specific element that's just for female sports, but what is that sport that we're looking at as an investor, whether it's a priority sport, you know, does it have a female angle to it? How can we really drive growth in that sport from a female perspective? How do we work with the local federations to make sure that talent pathway is developed and really, again, managed and commercialized to the best of our ability? So it's a fantastic mandate, but one that comes with, you know, responsibility to make sure that it's executed at the highest level and really delivers on that return.
Right, thank you. My next question is to Dr. Mizna. This one is about challenges. I know we're not a big fan of the word challenges, but we look at them as opportunities to grow always. My question for you is, what are the main challenges facing women's sports, and how can we overcome them?
Women's sports in Saudi Arabia, and we all believe that have achieved remarkable progress. When we are looking for, in my perspective, into the challenges that women face in general in sport, we can look to a different comprehensive approach where we can see the women